There we go. Hi, let's get Ilhiana with us. There we go. Hang on, we're getting Ilhiana settled and able to join. Hey,
Hey, we
how are
made it.
you? Yes, how are you? So excited to have you here.
I'm so excited to be here. Yay.
Good. So I want to give an introduction because we're both coaches, but I really love the type of coaching that you do. So Ilhiana Rojas Saldana is the CEO of Be Like Coaching. She's an executive and career transformational and strategy coach, which is amazing. Hey, had a couple of people saying hi. You work in diversity and inclusion, and you're also a consultant. So, Iliana, I'm so happy to have you here. I think we've have become really good friends this last year, and we've never
Yeah.
met in person.
The benefits in some way of COVID, at least we've been able to build this really wonderful relationship.
Yes. So tell us, I gave a very brief introduction of your titles, but tell us a little bit more about you.
Yeah, so I always like to start by saying that I'm a chemical engineer. That's how what I graduated from college, and then did 20 years on in marketing and sales in top Fortune 500 companies, and through that time I had a wonderful career. And towards the end of my corporate life, I realized that it became a job, and I wasn't having fun anymore, which is, there's a red light there because in my last job, it was all about toys and games. So when you're not having fun, when you're selling such wonderful products, clearly there's something missing.
Missing.
And looking back at what I enjoyed to do, I realized that building high performing teams, and building my direct reports to become really great leaders, like that's where my heart really thrived. So I decided that I wanted to do that full time versus just being a part of a role. And that's how I started this new phase of becoming a coach and a consultant. And the reason why I like to share that full story of my background is because I think there's still a belief from many people that career paths are linear, and that where you start, you sort of finish and you grow, and that definitely might be the case for many. Uh, but there are many other of us who have non-linear career paths, and that's okay. It like one is just as good as the other, but sometimes I've heard of people that have like that thing of, well, like how can I shift? How can I move? How can I do these things? And what's going to happen to me if I don't continue down the current path that I'm in? So that's why I like to give that full story of how I came to be where I am.
Yeah, and it's very similar in some ways to my story because my background, I worked for 15 years in nonprofits between human services and education, and I was working on mission-driven organizations. But like every Sunday, I was like, "Oh, I have to go to work tomorrow," and I was still committed to the mission, the vision, that education. I hold that very dear to my heart because I also have a child with disabilities. So I thought that just working in someone else's space was gonna fill that bucket of happiness, and that I was living my mission. But like you, the thing that excited me the most was building leadership, was doing diversity, equity, and inclusion, was the management work that I was doing. And I thought, well, what is next? Do I need to be the executive director or the CEO? Because I've already done all the levels within the nonprofit field for my career right now. So and I made the same decision of yeah, I want to do something different. And it happens during coaching too. So, uh, yeah, the path doesn't need to go this way. It's going to go up and down and it's fine. And that's great too.
Yes, yes, completely agree. That's
Yeah.
awesome.
So, like I said, I really love the type of coaching that you do, and I also love the title. So tell us a little bit about what is transformational coaching and how does it help companies succeed?
Yes. So to me, or the way I see transformational coaching means that it transforms my clients from within, from the inside out. And it starts with aligning who you are and your purpose with what you do and with your job. So that there is a true sort of long-term transformation. It's not just for the short term, for whatever goals that you want to accomplish from a professional perspective, but there's really that deeper connection that will help you for basically the rest of your life, because now you're truly aware of your strengths, your value, the value that you bring to others, and the types of environments and the types of roles that where you will thrive no matter what. So that's to me what transformation means, and why I believe it's such an important thing for companies and help employees within those companies to succeed. If we look at Gallup's State of the Global Workplace report back, I believe it's in 2019 was the latest, they reported that more than 85% of employees are not engaged. And that was pre-COVID time. So I can't even imagine what the numbers must be right now. And they're, actively disengaged, or they're just going to work because they have to go to work, not because they want to go to work. And that same report actually shares that the impact of having that high disengagement is about $7 trillion in lost productivity, which is a huge, huge number.
Yes.
Um, and one of the most important reasons behind that employee disengagement is it's because employees don't, for one reason or another, like you and I have shared in our stories, we end up just going to work. But we're not engaged anymore. We really don't find the reason why. It's just something that we have to do because we're going for a paycheck. And that really has an important impact in the effectiveness that you had at your work. So when you work with a coach and when you work with a transformation coach that can align and can reconnect your why, can reconnect your value and what you bring to the table with the work that you're currently doing, that engagement, turns around completely, and suddenly you're excited to go back to work again and to jump out of bed in the mornings, and that immediately drives your productivity, your effectiveness, your motivation, your resilience. Like it's like a domino effect, and then it has a positive impact in the work or in the workplace that you're in. So that's sort of in a nutshell why I'm so passionate about the work that I do.
Yeah, and I love that you talked about the return on investment for companies because I do believe that that is a big roadblock when consultants or coaches are submitting proposals for companies is for the leadership to understand that this is not, yes, coaching helps the individual, but the return on investment is for the company and the clients, not
Yes.
just developing the individual, but it's really the return on investment for the company and the clients. And by doing so, then the work culture. And we both work in the diversity, equity, and inclusion space, and we know how important it is for that to be like the backbone of the work, because if people cannot be present, they cannot be themselves fully, they're not engaged in the day-to-day work, is very difficult. It's kind of like jumping a step to create a diverse, equitable, and inclusive workplace. So you companies have to invest and see how this will support their strategic goals, their mission and vision, the company values. It's all aligned, the individual with the systems. So
Correct.
yeah. So what are the elements of a positive work culture now that we're talking about work culture? And this is one of those terms that everyone's talking about. Um, but what are the elements?
So for me and the way I see it and in the work that I do, there are three main elements. First is having a reason to engage, and for employees to truly feel that their mission, that their purpose, that their why, that whatever drives them is aligned with the job that they're doing, with the company that they're in, with the responsibilities, the impact, any of these, but that it's clear why I'm doing what I'm doing. When we lose that why along the way, because we could have it at the beginning and then somewhere along the way it gets sort of lost. It becomes an important piece of this positive work culture. The second thing is to feel the freedom and safety to engage. And in a way, you mentioned it as you were talking about having that inclusive environment, feeling that you are in high trust relationships with your manager, with your team, with the people that you're working with, that you can feel safe, that when you go to work, you can be your true self and nothing's going to happen. There's not going to be any retaliation or anything,
Mm-hmm.
that you're going to be listened to, and have that self-confidence of speaking up and not feeling that, oh my God, maybe what I'm going to say, somebody's going to take it the wrong way, or if I say it again, being able to feel that confidence. And finally, feeling valued for who you are. So all of those give you that freedom and safety to engage and build that positive energy, that positive environment. And the third thing is having the capacity to engage, which means having that energy to, like, you might be passionate about working in the morning, but if you're so tired because you've been like working, 12, 15 hours a day, like it doesn't matter, like your body's going to shut off no matter what.
Even if
But
every day you wake up at 6:30 in the morning, do not that you're
exactly.
ready to engage at 6:31.
Exactly. So really being able to manage that work-life harmony, right? And being able to, yes, give your best to your work environment, but also take the time to take a pause for self-care, for your well-being, so that you can re-energize and be, give everything that you have to your work. And then having the confidence that you have the tools and resources and support that you need from your workplace to do the work that you do and be the best at your role. Because it's not only about the skill sets and the talents and all of that. You need to have also the support and the resources. So those three elements, in my mind, and there are others, but in my mind, those three are the ones that I've seen are the most important to build that positive work culture.
Yeah. And I love that when you were talking about those recommendations or those elements, it's an investment from the company to its employees, and then is a time and energy investment of the employees to see that change. And one of the areas that I love to work on in consulting, and I imagine you too, is the onboarding process,
Yeah.
because you're set, and I think many companies overlook the onboarding process outside of, here's a binder with all of our policies and all these meetings. The onboarding process, in addition to telling someone about the work that they're going to do every day and who are they going to do it, it's an introduction of the expectations of the company culture and how they fit and how they can bring themselves to the company. And a lot of companies don't put the effort or don't do the investment within the I would say the 30 60 90, the first 90 days of an employee being there, to include the importance of building positive culture and setting the tone for that employee from the beginning. So then it's an issue that we're trying to get the medication to resolve the positive work culture, but we also need to make sure that as people continue to come in, they understand the changes that have happened and what we want, right? And we do that really well in the interview. We just want to make sure that through the whole process of bringing someone in and having them stay at the company, that continues to happen. Has that been your experience too with the consulting piece?
I agree. I think the onboarding process is extremely important, as well as like all the different stages of the employee life cycle. You know, from the interview process all the way to the exit. The exit like everything, because you never know how much time an employee is going to be with you. If it's a year or if it's 20 years, you still want to make sure that through that whole time with you, from the very first time that you have that very first interview, that very first touch point, to the last day on the job, and through all of those processes, including the onboarding process, like you mentioned, to me, I think it's really important to be mindful as an organization of how those experiences, you need to make sure that they are the best for the employee. I see it as inviting somebody to your house, right? Like when somebody comes to your house, like you welcome them at the door, like you show them in, you show them the house, you let them know where everything is, like you make their experience from the beginning to the end, like till the moment that they leave as pleasant as possible. And in some instances, like you would never just leave the door open and make sure that they come in. They don't even know where, everything is. You don't even say hi. Like I see it as how would I behave in this situation as if it were my house? Because that's what it is. It becomes part of our house, our home.
Our home.
It's our second home. So we want to make sure that the way we provide that great experience in our homes, that's I think what we want to provide from a workplace perspective.
Yeah, I love that comparison because it also includes that when we welcome someone to our home, we're also welcoming them to the things that we value and the things that are important to us, whether that's shown in our decoration or the food or the smells or the people that are part of our familia at the house. Everything is a reflection of who we are and what's important to us. Like everything you see and in a company is the same way. And I think that's also part of the company culture, and having a positive culture is that the company has not a standard, but it has a baseline of what the company is, and then everyone that comes in brings their own strengths, their background, what they're passionate about, and build a home. So you want to make sure that through the whole life cycle, even the exit interview, that you keep that positive culture and that positive experience with employees and leaders.
Correct. Yes.
So what should decision makers look for in a coach?
Oh, I would say many things. First, what are their specialties? Like it would seem that many coaches do the same thing, but when you like do your due diligence and research, we all specialize in different, either in different audiences or in different parts of the the client's experience, our frameworks and our methodologies. We all have different frameworks and methodologies. Some are, longer, some are shorter, some are very intensive, some are more, laid back. So all of that is important. There are certifications, and where they come from, and what their background is. If they use assessments, what types of assessments do they use, and who's backing up those assessments. And although those are like the biggest in the checklist, for me, I think the most important one is there has to be like a good rapport between the coach and the client, because you can check all those other boxes and say, yes, this coach like has all these great things on it, about them, but that doesn't necessarily mean that there's going to be a click between the client and the coach. Like there has to be that additional element of, I get you, right? Like I wouldn't be able to like put my finger on what it is, but when you have that initial conversation, that initial discovery call that most of us have, it's about, seeing like, can I relate with this person? Like the energy, is there something there that inspires me, that I can trust, that I can have, these candid, open conversations, because that's what you're going to look for in a coach, that you're going to be able to pour your heart out. Because if you don't, then the coaching experience doesn't work. So it has to be somebody that you feel that you can trust to be able to then, share those very deep feelings and emotions, and that you're not going to feel that you're going to be judged or anything. So it's not only about checking the credentials or, the background, but in the end, it comes down to, do we click or do we not click? And not every coach is for everyone. Like that's also the reality, and that's okay. That's why, each of us have our own niche, each of us have our own client. I've had people reach out to me that I've recommended with other coaches, because I feel like they're going to do a better connection and have a better rapport, the same that other coaches recommend people with me. So there has to be also that element of the clicking.
Yeah, it's important. I call it those aha moments where you're like, aha,
Yeah.
oh, yeah, that makes sense. And
Yeah.
yeah, it's a feeling, right? It's a feeling just for like for the coach, the right client and the right project is a feeling of, not only am I passionate about this, it's that I love what you're doing, or I see all these opportunities. I see I see all these strengths and I'm already thinking about it, or already have some ideas. I'm excited. You, as a leader, as a decision maker, as someone who's hiring a coach for your company or for your own leadership, I would say it is the same way. You need to have that connection, because, conversations are going to be deep. You're going to share things. You're going to, if it's your company, you have other people who are going to share a lot of information. So you want to feel that is someone that you can trust with that information, and that is open to joining, even if it's short term, your company, and build that positive work culture, right? So it's a lot on the coach, and that's why you want to make sure that it's a great match for you.
Yes.
Yeah. And I
Completely
love
agree.
it because there can be a list of many things, like you said, but in addition to those, like that feeling is so important, whether it's for your company or individually.
Correct. Yes.
So there's a lot of folks that know their company needs help from a coach. So how can they advocate, or how can they approach this conversation with their boss?
I always recommend to start the conversation with your professional development goals. Like what it is that you really want to accomplish. for yourself, and how you believe that a coach can be the perfect way to be able to accomplish those goals. It really goes down to the why of it's not only because I read it somewhere or because so and so told me that they went through this experience and I want to go through the same experience. It starts with yourself and what you want to accomplish in the next year, in the next 5 years, and doing that initial sort of inner understanding of where I am right now, and what am I missing to be able to get to those goals, and then through that be able to say, a coach will help me or can help me because I need to strengthen X, Y, Z, and I've already tried this or I've already explored that, but I really need somebody to help me identify my blind spots or to help me, strengthen these specific skill sets, because, or even like I want to become, I want to, get a promotion for that next level position, and that will require additional skill sets or habits or behaviors, and that's where a coach can come in and help identify and strengthen those different behaviors. So it really starts with being clear on what you want to accomplish, and then how a coach will help you accomplish those, because then you're talking facts. It's not about I believe, I think, I heard, somebody mentioned. Like, you're going with very specific details. And when that happens, I think the conversation between the person and the manager becomes richer, because now then the manager has elements to be able to say, completely agree, or if they don't agree, at least they can recommend a different solution to say, how about, if what you want to improve is your public speaking. I don't know. Like, why don't, I heard about this training, or there's going to be a training coming up about public speaking. Like, why don't you take that? Like, it has to be sort of that deeper conversation that starts with the goals, so that you can both then agree on what's the right next step. But in the end, what you want is to accomplish those goals. So that conversation can become really rich.
Yeah. And then it grows, right? Because your boss will see the impact that the coaching has had in your career and your day-to-day work. Then it's easier to talk about, well, maybe this is something that we want the team to do. And usually your manager, as they see the change, and I always encourage for folks who are doing coaching and also working to talk to their managers about the coaching process and what are the skills that they're developing, whether their work is paying for it or not. It really shows that you're open for growth. It shows a lot of skills building, change management, that your manager will see that you are investing in your career and that you're investing in your growth inside the company. So that's important to show. And once you have those conversations and they see the progress and they see the impact that coaching is having at work and for yourself personally, it's easier to also pitch, hey, maybe we need this for the team, or maybe it's a workshop, and then you create that culture, that positive culture of professional development with your peers. And that's how I explore coaching myself in the workplace for the first time. I was seeing a lot of progress from my peers, and we were in the same role, but they were very confident and they were negotiating their salaries and doing all these amazing things. And I asked one of my coworkers, hey, how are you doing this? And then I asked someone else, and I kept asking my coworkers, and they were all were working with a coach, whether it was a career coach, an executive coach, a leadership coach, right? And I was like, wait, I want that too. Where do I sign up? That's kind of how I started, because I knew about the importance of mentorship, but I did not know, I didn't connect coaching with your leadership and your career and your growth in the management field. And that's why I loved it, because once I started working and understanding also what mentorship really was and what I should look in a mentor, my career completely changed and my confidence changed in my leadership journey too.
And you bring up a wonderful, wonderful point that I think not many people are really conscious about. That you know, when you grow in your career, you feel that you're on your journey on your own. Like it's up to you, you know, to learn things, to you know, get better, to whatever it is. It feels like it's up to me, and in a way, obviously, it is. However, in you have to have, or it's better when you have a support team, right? And I love what you mentioned about the mentors and coaches, because they are part of that support team. And when you, I'm building right now a workshop for in a couple of weeks time about how do you build those strategic relationships, that
Oh my
support
God, I
team.
love that because
And
I'm creating one about building your leadership board of directors.
yeah,
We were
exactly.
always connected. I
I
love
know,
it.
I know. And it's important because we don't
Yes,
think that we need like all these people, or that it's best when we have all these people, when you have like, you know, your mentors for different things, your coaches for different things, your advisors, your advocates, your supporters, your cheerleaders. Like when you look around, I know that I was talking to somebody this week about saying, when I finally made a list of all the people that I have around me, I was impressed because I had like 20 people that I can lean on in different ways. And it's not something that, like, I felt that I had to do for a very long time this on my own. And it's overwhelming. It really is. It like creates this additional stress and anxiety of, oh my God, and what happens if I do, if I don't? How do I make this decision? What if I'm wrong? Like, and we don't have
yes,
to do this journey on our own. Like we can tap into this rich network, strategic network of people that are, you know, are going to support us because they want to see us thrive. They want to see us succeed. And when you see that, then you're not on your own. It sort of takes that weight off, and you're like, okay, I can do this.
I can do this, right? I have my group. I have my board of directors, like I call it, and I tell my clients, well, in your board of directors and your advisory board, I'm your chief motivational officer. That's my role. So if you need one, put my name. And it's so powerful
It
when
is.
you tell people, hey, I want you to know that you're in my board of directors. I want you to know that for me, this is how I see your support. And people step up. They're like, wait, this what I'm doing? Okay, I love you. I'm your friend, or I'm your peer, or I'm your boss, or I'm your mentor. You know, even from your network, they're like, okay, and they check on you, and your relationships get stronger. I did my 2021 resolutions, and one of my resolutions is work on my friendships because I love my friends, and I am, if you need me, I'm there. But throughout the week, I might not engage, maybe send a meme. And to me, it's important that they understand how much I love them and I value them. So
Yep.
I send them a copy of that of how I was working through for the whole year for that goal. And I said, hey, just want you to know that you're in my resolutions and you can expect these things from me. And hopefully we can maybe have a meet together by the end of the year, or do a trip or plan something for next year because I want to celebrate you and your friendship. And from that moment that I had that conversation to now, I have seen I'm keeping myself accountable, but I have seen a significant change because now they know how they support me and how I value them. So
Yeah.
I love that we're connected in that piece, and it's very important for folks to start building that team. You don't have
Yes.
to do, and that's why I created the Las Lideres series, because I want to bring women of color to talk to other folks of color, especially Latinas. I talk to Latinas every day, and asking for help is not something
Oh
that
my God.
that comes
Yes.
naturally, or we're taught to like go, go to school, go to college, read every book, hustle, hustle, hustle all the time. And I want to change with this series the mindset of asking for help. And just like it's very important for your emotional health to seek therapy if that's something that you want to do. To me, that's something very dear and important to my own development. My therapist has her own seat in my board of directors. But with your career, with your leadership, with your leadership journey, I would say, even your business, if you're launching a business, that should have a seat and support, and a coach can be that person.
Yes, and I think you and I are in sync, like many other coaches that are within our circle. That when you're a coach, you understand the benefits of a coach, and that actually would be another question as we were talking about what to look for in a coach. I would ask them, like, do you have a coach? Like, I have coaches, and because you understand the benefit of having somebody that can help you with those blind spots, that can help you overcome, certain challenges, because we don't have all the answers, right? But we recognize the importance of leaning on somebody else that can bring that fresh perspective, that can bring, certain frameworks, or that can ask you the right questions. Because sometimes when you ask the question, it goes like, aha, I should have known that all along. But when you're so in the weeds of something that's blocking you, you really need somebody else to make that question. I always say to people that sometimes I ask the mirror in the wall and I still haven't gotten the mirror to answer. Maybe in the future with this whole AI thing that'll happen, but for the moment, the mirror is still silent. So I definitely see the benefit of my own coaches to help me with that, the way that I, as a coach, help my clients. So it is important to have one to what you're talking about, your personal board of directors or your strategic, relationships.
Yeah. And know that the coach will help you workshop those things. And you will have your board of advisors where they're giving you advice and things you should consider, and you make the decision, but they're not doing that workshopping with you, which is what a coach will do. They'll bring exercises, experience, research, a lot of things into assessments, into the conversation to help you get from where you're at to where you really want to be.
Yes,
Good.
totally.
So where can people learn more about you, the work that you do, and where can they follow you?
Well, I'm in all the different social media platforms, but for the most part, LinkedIn, from a social media platform, definitely that's where most people find me, and easily reach out to me. And then my website also is a great way for people to reach out to me, both on beliefcoach.com. And I mean, I'm in Facebook, I'm in Instagram, so you can also reach me that way. But I would say LinkedIn and my website are the most common ways that people reach out to me.
Perfect. And I'll make sure to add all the links and all the tags to you and Believe Coach and everywhere so people can find you. And you can find her on Instagram. She shares some amazing, amazing content every single day. Ilhiana is also a public speaker. She does everything. She does consulting, business coaching. So follow her at any stage in your career and your leadership journey. Ilhiana is there to provide you a lot of knowledge and a lot of great content. So thank you so much. I really love every time we connect. You don't know this, but every time we hang up a Zoom call, I go to my husband and I'm like, oh my God, I love her. And what you don't know is that like I'm part of your fan club.
Oh, thank
If
you.
I'm calling the fan club, let me know so I can go to the meetings. I love every time I connect with you and I chat with you. So thank you so much for joining me today.
No, thank you so much for inviting me. I was so excited when I received the invitation. I was like, "Yay!" So
Good.
I couldn't wait to have this chat with you, and we've been doing some great work together, and I'm just so excited for the things that are going to come in 2021. So yeah, we're you're also part of my support team. You know that.
Good. Well, thank you so much, Ilhiana, and have a wonderful day. Thanks for everyone who joined us. Take care.
Thank you. Have a good one.
Bye.